We're going to call the Capitola City Council meeting for Thursday, May 26th to order, and we'll begin with a roll call.
Councilmember Norton.
Here.
Councilmember Harlan.
Here.
Councilmember Tran.
Here.
Councilmember Termini.
Here.
Mayor Bator.
Here, can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? We have a presentation tonight. Our police chief, Mr. Escalante.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Honored to be here. We're continuing at the request of the council to meet officers from the department over various council meetings through the year. As you know, we meet or we work 24/7, 365, and so sometimes it's hard to get familiar with the faces, and so now is an opportunity to do that. The first person I want to introduce to you is Master Officer Leo Moreno. He's one of our bilingual officers. Come on up here, Leo. Briefly, he joined the department in 1999 and started out as a code enforcement officer and in the parking department. 2002, he became a full-time officer. He left for a short time and then found the error in his ways and came back, which was to our benefit. He's our liaison to the Ombudsman Program and the Housing Authority. He coordinates events with Special Olympics and does our torch run and the Tip of Cop event. He's also on the board of directors for Community Action Board. Leo was last year's Herb Ross Officer of the Year award winner. Obviously, all the activities that he does outside of the department. And he just completed a 2-year assignment as a detective, and this is his second or third day back out on patrol. So it's a new face that people are going to not recognize over the last couple of years, but he's really doing a heck of a job for us. You bet.
Thank you, Leo.
Come on up here, Oscar.
Wait, who's this guy?
Yeah.
Most recognizable police officer in Capitola.
Come on over here. So Oscar is our veteran of the department. He has been with the city since 1987. Long time. He has seen many transitions down in the village, from the old meters to the new meters to the pay stations, and recently, with the support of Sergeant Andy Daly and Captain Tom Held in Operation Surf, he had a tremendous experience. So he doesn't know this, but we have a small little video for you, Oscar, which we're going to show you.
I was scared of dentists and the dark. I was scared of pretty girls and starting conversations. All my friends are turning green. Yeah, the magician's assistant in their dream. And they come unstuck. Running down to the good side, taking away to the dark side. I wanna be your next friend. I love you.
Tell me about it. Wave number one. Definitely different. I'd say it's different. First time ever.
And on the high shelf. And they come unstuck. Running down to the middle tide, taken away to the dark side. I wanna be your left-hand man. I love you when you sing that song. When you sing that song, yeah, I got a lump in my throat, 'cause you're gonna sing the words wrong. Oh, lady, running down to the riptide, taking away to the dark side. I wanna be your left-hand man. I love you when you sing that song, yeah, I got a lump in my throat, 'cause you're gonna sing the words wrong. Oh, lady, running down to the riptide, taking away to the dark side. I wanna be your left-hand man. I love you when you sing that song, yeah. I got a lump in my throat, 'cause you're gonna sing the words wrong. I got a lump in my throat, 'cause you're gonna sing the words wrong.
Good one.
As we know, the ocean does tremendous things for the human race, and we've developed quite a relationship with Operation Surf. But I do want to give some credit to Tom Held's daughter. I don't know if Ashley, she's not here. She was the one who put all of the video and the still photographs together and the music, which was fabulous. Captain Tom Held and Andy Daly put this together for Oscar. It was a tremendous day. Matt Arthur put together a lot of the GoPro, and the Paul and Terry Gregory, who are here from the foundation, put together some of the still photos. So I hope you had a great day that day, Oscar. All right. That's all we have today.
Oscar, now you have the Aloha spirit with you, okay? Okay, with that, we have a presentation of some plaques. Sue, do you have the plaques?
Oh, no, Laura has the plaque.
Laura says, come on up, Laura. We have some presentation of plaques to the City Council, the Police Department for Operation Surf.
Hi, thank you for having us. I'll introduce Brent Edwards, ASA board member first.
Thanks. Good evening, Mr.
Why
Mayor.
don't you guys come up? Let's get the microphone. Let's do it up here.
Okay.
Really embarrassing.
Right there on the camera. Laura, no, you're good at this, okay? No, you're right. I'm going to hold on to those while you take that. There you go.
Where am I speaking to? Out here?
Right there's the camera.
All right, I just, as I don't know if a lot of you know about Operation Surf, now you've seen what we were able to do in conjunction with the police department to get Oscar out there. We are a program that brings injured, past veterans and active duty military men and women out here. They suffer from amputations to PTSD or all the above. And we bring them out for a week to surf here in Capitola. And, you know, tonight we just really want to acknowledge everybody in Capitola, from the community, from the Safety Foundation that has supported us, sponsored us from day one, helping us to achieve what we need to. The Capitola Police Department has held our hand and walked us through every phase of preparing for the event in Capitola, along with being there to support us through the event. And I have to say, it means a lot to the participants and to us that organize everything to not only have the police department support us throughout the year, but to come on their days off to support us, to be, you know, a mentor, to be a water help to our participants. And, you know, they see them in the uniform one day and then the next day they're out in the water with them, and it means the world to them. And it really shows the community support that Capitola has given us, and in turn that has helped our participants just, I mean, everybody wants to be in Capitola because they feel at home, they feel safe, and they feel loved and supported, and that's big for them. They go on a lot of these retreats, different things, and this one really made a big difference to them. So, you know, I wanted to present the police department, Captain Held, Sergeant Daly, Chief Escalante.
Come on up, guys.
You know, it's a small token of our appreciation, but you guys really mean the world to us. So. And then on with the city council and the community.
This is your show. He was the one behind all this.
He is the one behind all of this, and this is. We want to present this to the city of Capitola for everything you guys have all done for us. Mayors, past mayors that come out and speak to our participants, and heartfelt talking with them. You know, it's not a political agenda. It is literally heartfelt. And again, they go to a lot of these. They know the difference. They feel the difference. And it means the world to them to feel so loved and welcome. So thank you. Thank you for everything.
What you don't understand is how easy it is to do that. And that's because of what you guys have put together.
Thank
Sure.
you. Thank you. All right. Thank you.
I think Operation Surf is just a great event for this whole town, and I think everybody enjoys doing it every year. So thanks, Laura. Keep it up. Okay, we'll move on to a report on closed session.
Thank you, Mayor Butterf, members of the City Council. There were 4 items on this evening's closed session. 3 of those were pending litigation. First item is the matter Schrodel versus the City of Capitola. On that item, by unanimous vote, the council voted to accept the terms of a settlement agreement that was presented to the council for its consideration. In the Schrodel matter, I just note that this brings to a close a lawsuit that was initiated in 2012, so it's a long-standing case that was put to rest. The terms of the settlement and the particulars will be available. Right now, a settlement agreement is being circulated, and once that's been signed and distributed, the terms of the settlement will be available on request to members of the public. Second case, GTE MobileNet of California versus City of Capitola. By contrast, a case that's been pending for about a week. The council received a report and gave direction to the city attorney on that. I believe that may come up during the open portion of the meeting in a few moments. The 3 is the Friends of Monterey Park versus the City of Capitola. Council received a report and gave direction to the city attorney's office on that item. There was no reportable action taken. Finally, liability claims, the claim of Vaccine Choice Santa Cruz County, which is on your consent agenda.
Thank you. Sue, any additional information?
No additional material, thank you.
And Mr. City Manager, any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Staff has no changes.
At that point, we're going to open up to public comment. This is our oral communication period where members of the public can come up and speak on any issue that is not on the agenda. They'll be allowed 3 minutes to speak. Anyone from the public like to come in? Please tell us your name and what city you're from.
Carol Lerno, Machado, and I just want to come and compliment that this is finally over. 5 years of part of my life. 5 years ago, I lost my husband, I lost my father, I lost Pacific Cove, or my part of it, and I advised a family member to do something. He didn't do it, of course, he did it his way, but it's over now. I want to move on, and plus I want to thank Capitola, because this is the best place on earth. Coming to these meetings, tonight was the best time to pick. I'm giving up the Warriors. I hope their score's okay. But anyway, thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you for the smile on your face and those kind words, okay? Appreciate that.
Marilyn Garrett. I also want to thank the City Council for doing their best to represent the quality of life and of the citizens and to insist upon self-governance of the city over the power of corporations. We should be self-governing. And I want to bring to your attention a very recent article that appeared in Microwave News, and here's the headlines. This is from yesterday. Cell phone radiation boosts cancer risks in animals. $25 million, let's see what this is, National Toxicology Project study finds brain tumors, also heart tumors, in exposed animals. U.S. government expected to advise public on health risk. I'll leave you the article. The unexposed rats did not develop these tumors, but those exposed to cell phone radiation did. And since the public is exposed to all this, some kind of action needs to be taken to protect the public. Also, right now, there's a bill in the state legislature, 2395 by Lowe, by AT&T, to remove our safe landline networks. And here's a nice sign. Can somebody come up and help me? My friend made this. It's just gorgeous, so I have to hold it. Anybody? Thank you. Okay. So landline is a lifeline, and then let's talk about it. You did a great job. No landline, no power. That means no 9/11. We know when there's a utility outage, the cell phones don't work. The landlines do. Now, in light of this new study, on top of all the other studies showing adverse biological effects, this bill should be stopped. It's in the Appropriations Committee right now of the Assembly. And I would urge you to take action like other groups to oppose this bill. They include, and I'll give you copies, the utility return, so what it stands for, TURN, T-U-R-N, the Utility Reform Network, StopSmartMeters.org, California Alliance of Retired Americans that represents about 950,000 people and over 270 organizations, Mendocino County Board of Supervisors.
Marilyn, you're going to need to wrap up. Okay.
And the last one, Rural County Representatives of California. I would urge you to take like action to protect the citizenry and retain our safe landlines. Thank you.
Thank you. And Marilyn, it's the best looking sign I've seen in this chambers in a long time, so they did a good job.
My friend did it. Isn't it beautiful?
It's beautiful. Anyone else like to speak to the council? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Move on to city council comments. Comments? Yes. Councilman Kirby.
First of all, a couple of Red Cross moments here.
Okay.
We're having a blood drive, City of Capitola at Jade Street on June 3rd from noon to 5. If you have blood, bring it down. And on June 17th, 8 a.m. at Twin Lakes Baptist Church, we're celebrating the heroes of Santa Cruz County at the Heroes Breakfast. So everyone's welcome to that as well. And I'm working with the Santa Cruz Business Council on the legislation that Marilyn mentioned. There are flaws in it. To be clear, it doesn't take the landline away. It removes AT&T's requirement to have analog and digital switching simultaneously, and it lets them lose the analog and preserve the digital. But there are serious flaws in it because it doesn't really protect our outliers. Boulder Creek, the Valley, places where digital is not, it's just too far away from the switching station. So Mark Stone is very active on that, and I've been working with him, and it's good.
Keep us posted on that.
Yeah, I shall.
Any other comments?
Is this my time? Okay. Yeah. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for this meeting to suspend Rosenberg's rules of order that require us to reconsider a motion only at the time and at the meeting the decision is made. This requires a 4/5 vote of the council to suspend this particular Rosenberg rule for this particular item.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second? Second. I have a second on the motion. All in favor of the first motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously in that case.
I would also like to make a motion as one of the prevailing voters on that particular motion that we set an item on our agenda for June 16th or June 23rd meeting to reconsider the appeal of a planning commission's approval of a wireless telecommunications facility at Begonia Plaza.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Norton. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Any other comments, Steph? Councilman Termini?
Yeah. So, as a city council person, I did go to youth violence prevention meeting where we're planning plan for part of Santa Cruz County, and also a climate collaborative. Another planning meeting where we came up with our final recommendation for bylaws and also recommendation for dues, of which hopefully Capitola will be a member of that. FAC, Finance Advisory Committee, and League of Women Voters held an interesting forum, which Stephanie and I attended, on the financing for public campaigns. And then you might talk about the Breakfast Club, where we meet with the two trustees from our SoCal Unified School District. I went to that. Interesting conversation. And then Provider Input Forum, which I mentioned last meeting, and that deals with how nonprofit providers are going to interface with the various agencies, including Capitola, that support some of their efforts. And, you know, the whole means-based testing is a consideration so that programs are deemed efficient. Senior Forum, which I'm on, and then the initial meeting of the groundwater group that's going to be, it's SoCal Water District's part of it, Santa Cruz Water District's part of it, and that's going to help monitor water use, especially for people who have wells, also people in the community as users of the water providing agencies, and also the dinner. I think the Capitola Volunteer Dinner was great. I mean, I think we all enjoyed ourselves. There's a lot of volunteers that were very happy with that. Also went to the Santa Cruz Children's Network. A lot of interesting programs, especially from rec districts. Watsonville was there. Their PAL program was very interesting. Talked about a lot of things they do for kids. County of Santa Cruz was there also. Talked about a lot of things they do for kids, as well as Santa Cruz itself. And I'll let you talk about Save Our Skies.
Okay.
And that's it.
Did you have any comments?
No, I'm fine.
Stephanie?
This next weekend, following weekend, June 4th and 5th, is the annual Rod and Custom Car Show for all of you car buffs. It's a fundraiser for the Capitola Police Community Foundation, so it's a great cause. It helps support their activities and the canine officer and other things. The museum is going to piggyback on it this year, and on Sunday they're going to have their first ever pop-up museum down there. So if you're going to be down there and you have any 60s related memorabilia related to cars and pictures, car parts, stories, artifacts, relics, anything you want to bring and share, bring it down there. We're going to have a table down there, and people can talk about their interesting 60s. It's the 50th birthday party for the museum, and so that's why the theme is the 60s and the Beatles and surfing and the Beach Boys and everything. So pop-up museum, Sunday, June 5th, from about 10 to 3 or so that day down in the village. So come and enjoy the car show and also bring some interesting things to share.
Okay. Any treasurer comments?
No comment.
No. Staff comments?
Just a couple things in case anyone missed it. KION did a wonderful special last night, broadcasting live from Capitola Beach. You can still get a few of the clips online if you're interested. Go to the KION website if you want to see some of that. Our beach work has been wrapping up here rapidly to close up the lagoon and wrap that up. We'll get an update on the rest of the CIP projects, but I'm sure you've seen all the work out there. We're scrambling to get all our work done. It's been a tough time for our crews here this year with a lot on the work plate. Reminder, next week we have our next budget hearing. It's out of sequence, so June 1st we'll be doing a budget hearing next week. June 4th, which is the same day as the first day of the car show, we'll be doing the skate park dedication with the Monty Foundation to receive the check. And that is at 10 o'clock, is it?
11.
11 o'clock. Thank you very much. And lastly, as Councilmember Bertrand mentioned, we had our volunteer dinner this week. I think it was a great event, wonderful success. And if you would like to be invited to the volunteer dinner next year,
Volunteer.
come see me and we'll find you a committee or some way you can volunteer and help out the city. So thank you.
That's a great plug. And we have a CIP report.
Start out with a beach report. We're doing our annual grading of the beach. Today the tractor broke down, so we're offline from till about 2 in the afternoon, but I believe they're still working out there today trying to catch up. We will have the final closure of the lagoon in place tomorrow about midday. They'll get it as dressed up as they can for the long weekend, and then we will be doing the final bit of the work next week on there. Crew's done a great job. It's actually been a good year for kelp in the creek. There wasn't much kelp. We were able to get it out in one effort. So from that standpoint, things have gone well, have enough sand. Regarding the capital improvement programs, we're just about wrapped up with the Stockton and Esplanade improvements. The landscaping's going in, and I think that's probably the last item. 38th is now complete. McGregor Park, fences are going in. We will have fencing done in time for the dedication ceremonies on June 4th and on June 11th. And today, final paving on Rosedale started taking place. The 2 cul-de-sacs, Alma Court and the other one, Carl, were paved. Got the first course in. Ground's a little softer than we'd like for paving, but contractors are doing a good job getting through that. They will finish up the cul-de-sacs hopefully tomorrow, and then come back next Tuesday and work on Rosedale and Rosedale Court itself.
Question. Steve, Rispin?
The Rispin.
Being done at Rispin?
Yeah. Thank you for reminding me.
No problem.
Rispin pathway, they are working on that. They are demoing the old pathway this week. As people have found out, both pathways are closed during the demo work. So hopefully that'll end next week as we get that poured, and then they'll move and do the upper portion of that.
Walls are coming down?
The walls come down. That's going to come down as part of this project. There may be additional walls that are cut and put in place when we get to the park project.
And when will we get streetlights on Stockton? There are 2 streetlights missing.
Yeah, that's the last punch item on there, and I'm not exactly sure on the delivery yet.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Question.
So I spent some time watching your guys in the creek. I have to admit, it was pretty well organized. So I don't know how much fun it is raking all that seaweed, but
yeah, I think it's a mixed feeling. They kind of look forward to it, but when they're in there, they're happy when it's over. So they were happy it was a light kelp year.
I think they were very happy, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Any reports from regional boards or commissions? Dennis?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Stephanie? Mike? I have a couple. We're going to report on 2. First is the Metro Board. But prior to this meeting, I attended a public hearing in Watsonville. The Metro Board is getting ready to impose the impacts of the $6.5 million structural deficit, and they're holding public hearings for the proposed cuts in the Metro bus system. That hearing's going on as we speak here. It will carry over to tomorrow at Santa Cruz City Council chambers. So if you're interested in the bus cuts and what is being proposed, tomorrow will be the vote. So it's a time to go and speak your mind about what part of the bus system matters to you. And also attended a meeting last night at the Santa Cruz Civic Center on the City Selection Committee regarding to the jet noise that I'm sure most of the residents, if not all the residents in Capitola, have been subjected to for, well, I think it's March 5th, 2015, since that date. And the action by, I think I explained this before, but Congressman Farr, Congressman Eshoo, and Congresswoman Spear, is that they appointed a select committee, which is 4 members from each of those 3 counties. And the meeting was in Santa Cruz last night. I'm guessing it was attended by 500 people. There was comments by some of the select members, not many, but there was opinions given from different groups that are affected throughout the 3 counties, San Mateo, Santa Clara, and Santa Cruz, as to what might be a possible solution or a remedy. There will be 2 more public hearings, one in Santa Clara County on, I I believe it is June 19th, and one in San Mateo County on June 31st. June 31st? Yeah. And at the end of those 3 meetings, the Select Committee will finally get together and try to make a recommendation for how to ease the jet noise for people in Santa Cruz County. So we'll keep you posted on that. And with that, we'll move on to the consent calendar. This is items that we normally vote on as one block, unless someone has a question. Is there anybody who'd like to pull an item from the consent calendar?
I will move the consent calendar.
I just have a question or two.
Question?
Second.
Let me get the second. A motion and a second, and your question.
Yeah. Just in terms of the checks,
Yes.
on the summary page 13, there's an item, quarterly tourist parking, marketing district pass-through payment for $42,444. Is that mostly from BIA, or is that partially city and BIA? What, just like an explanation.
So what that is that's the Regional Tourism Marketing District, which is actually the old CDC. So that's basically a tax that the hotels self-imposed on themselves, something like $1.50 a night. We collect it on behalf of them, pass it on to the CDC. So it's just a pass-through payment. So we get it in conjunction with the TOT, but it's never our money.
Got it. Okay. Then I have a question for City Attorney. On item 9D, this is dealing with resolution intention to levy business improvement assessments for the fiscal years 2016-2017. On page 53, second paragraph in discussion, it says requirement this has to be submitted to the council for review. The annual report, which must be and is on file, city clerk, may be modified by the council and then approved. What does that mean, may be modified by the council? What latitude do we have in terms of modifying this particular budget proposal?
Well, there's an expectation that the recommendation would be given serious consideration, but if the council were to modify any of the specific content, including the amount of expenditures for different categories, that sort of thing, then you have that ability to do so.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know if you have a particular modification in mind that we could look at, but.
Well, we're going to vote on this, and if it's accepted, there will be a public hearing, right?
Yes. Could be.
Yes.
Dennis, you have a question?
No, fine.
Okay. We have a motion, a second on the consent calendar.
You should open the.
Oh, is there anyone from the public that would like to pull something from the consent calendar? Seeing none, we'll bring it back. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. That'll take us to the general government public hearing, and this is consider adopting an administrative policy regarding city proclamations.
Okay, I'll provide the report.
Okay.
The city frequently receives requests for proclamations from individuals and groups. Currently, there's no policy or guideline for the consideration of proclamations. So at the April 28th meeting, Mayor Bottorff requested that the city consider adopting an administrative policy regarding city proclamations. And so attached to your packet is a draft administrative proclamation policy, and it indicates that only the ones I'm going to explain now are Type 1 proclamations. They're divided into Type 1 and Type 2. So Type 1 are only proclamations dealing with local, county, state issues, or those that positively impact the community and convey an affirmative message to residents for the council to consider. And the other type of proclamation is they'd be more routine in nature, and they have to do more with regional or statewide events, recognitions such as Child Abuse Prevention Month, and various types of proclamations like that. And they could be issued administratively and would generally not be read at a city council meeting, but we would post them on a city's website. Thank you.
Any questions?
Could I?
Absolutely.
I wanted to follow up on my response to Councilmember Bertrand's question, because I had a copy of the statute in an email message that Jamie sent me earlier this week. Rather, it was Mark Welch who sent it. During the course of or upon the conclusion of the public hearing, the City Council may order changes in any of the matters provided in the report, including changes in the proposed assessments, the proposed improvements and activities to be funded with the revenues derived from the levy of the assessments, and the proposed boundaries of the area and any benefit zones within the area.
Fair enough. Thank you for that clarification. Okay, we had no one from the public that, anybody from the public want to talk about the proclamation procedure? Seeing no one from the public, we'll bring it back for discussion.
I have a concern with the type 2 and just with a little bit of the language. I think that we should leave it up to the recipient of the proclamation on whether they'd like it presented at the council meeting. Sometimes Amateur Radio Week, Child Abuse Prevention Month, to give a couple, they'd like, personally coming, receiving it, a little bit of promotion for their organization. So perhaps that one could be made so it says, and may not be read at the city council meeting unless requested by the recipient. Does that sound like a reasonable?
No, is everybody okay with that language?
Yes, that's fine.
I'd like to so move with that language. I'm sorry.
One suggestion, I think, I don't know that I would put all the complete level of discretion on the party requesting. I think putting the flexibility into the policy is a good call to be able to do it either way. Mm-hmm. But I think that, at the end of the day, the mayor and the city manager probably would want to be able to determine, if it was Ant Awareness Week or something here in Capitola, whether or not that would actually come to a council meeting. So,
well, if you're prepared to tell the folks from Child Abuse Prevention that they're not allowed to come, I'm going to leave it up to you.
In that case, probably the answer would be no. So my suggestion is just to keep this much flexibility.
I like we're doing it now.
Well, it was an attempt to streamline, but if there's language that's acceptable,
generally not be read to may or may not be read at the city council.
Yeah, I just find
If you just have may in there, that covers it. You don't have to say may not.
So we have the option.
Yeah, the mayor and city manager can handle that.
Your motion and your motion and your amendment to the motion, so that's
good.
Is there a second on that?
Second.
Second by Harlan. Anyone from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion carries unanimously.
I'm exhausted. I'm spent.
And with that, we are adjourned. Good night.
And you now.